Well, hello friends, thank you for joining me today again for another session in Lent, and we thought we'd kick off today and share about the hours of the Passion. The hours of the Passion, of course, are from this book, from the Kingdom of the Divine Will itself, and we think and we feel it's so important that if you want to participate in the Divine Will itself, that you look at the hours of the Passion, because this will really take your faith to a whole new level by practicing this. So joining me today, we have Kathy Herstick again over there in Medjugorje, who's going to help again talk about this more and unpack it a little bit for us. So hello, Kathy again. How are you?
Hi, Carol. I'm great. Thank you.
Yes, we're here today again to talk about the hours of the Passion in this book. And I think I've done them as well previously, but I intend doing them through Lent also, because they truly are remarkable. So perhaps you can maybe start with sharing about what the hours of the Passion are all about and why the Lord wants us to enter into his Passion.
So in Divine Will, Carol, what's a little bit different about the hours of the Passion is Jesus is revealing to us his interior sufferings. So up to now, saints spoke to us, or we knew about what happened on the outside. Isn't that true? Like the way of the cross.
Yeah.
And also in Medjugorje, I remember when the late Archbishop Hoser came here, and he said, I'm looking at Medjugorje, like what Our Lady is doing, you know, and I see the big cross mountain and people do the way of the cross. And he said, the church is throwing out the way of the cross. And here's Our Lady pointing us to do the way of the cross, you know. And she tells us in Medjugorje that great graces come from even looking at the cross, meditating on the cross. Mm-hmm. And St. Faustina tells us, you know, that it's always good to meditate on the Passion. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But the thing that's different in Divine Will is it's all the interior sufferings of Jesus. Mm-hmm. So we start experiencing all the rejection and the misunderstandings, and, you know, not just the lashes and the outwardly signs, you know. Mm-hmm. What about the inwardly hurts? So it's bringing up like our wounds, our inner wounds.
Friends, when you read the hours of the Passion, you know, we have seen the Mel Gibson, you know, the Passion, and we have seen, I'm sure you've seen Jesus of Nazareth and all these films that were made throughout the years, and they very much focused on what happened to him on the cross, the physical elements, the physical aspects of what happened to him, which were horrible. But when you read the hours of the Passion, you get to understand more. And I've done a video on this before, where I shared, you know, some of the horrible details that were exposed to us. What the Lord went through was terrible. You know, we were only given a glimpse of the reality of the suffering he had to endure. But again, nobody has really touched on interiorly what it was like for him, and to be separated from God. But the hours of the Passion, Kathy, getting back to the writings of Luisa and what the Lord tells her through these writings, he says, my daughter, he says in volume 12, he says, my daughter, my crucifixion was complete. Do you know why? Because it was done in the eternal will of my Father. In this will, the cross became so long and so wide as to embrace all centuries and to penetrate into every heart, present, past, and future, in such a way that I remained crucified in each heart of the creature. This divine will put nails through all of my interior, into my desires, into my affections and heartbeats. Amazing. It is absolutely amazing. By the way, friends, we just want to quote Father Iannuzzi is the go-to guy for this stuff. He's the expert on this, probably the most prominent earthly expert. So we're taking our instructions from Father Iannuzzi, right from the Divine Era channel. Isn't that right, Kathy?
Yeah. So Carol, he's telling us that we actually get to co-redeem. So by these hours of the Passion, they're not just words, they're not just a meditation, they're not just a prayer, they're the actual act. And it's like when we do these words, Jesus experiences us 2,000 years ago, It's hard for us to understand that, but there's no time for God.
Yeah.
And he explains to us that this is the first time, Luisa is the first person through the divine will that allows us to repair all generations.
Yeah.
This wasn't available up to Luisa. A saint could pray for, could pray in a fixed way in their human will. But now, as Jesus is saying, because of the eternal will of his Father, he could repair for everybody's life.
Yes.
So he was only 33 years on the earth, but every creature from Adam to the last one, their sins have been repaired by Jesus in 33 years.
Incredible. It's incredible. And friends, I just want to read this piece to you. It says, my kingdom and my pains, my blood, my virtues. This is the true kingdom that I possess, not outside of me, but within me. What one possesses on the outside is not a true kingdom, nor a safe dominion, because that which is not inside of man can be taken away, usurped, and he shall be forced to leave it. So again, he talks about everything interiorly.
Carol, and the scary thing is he talks about all our thoughts.
Yes.
So even though we think people don't hear our thoughts on the outside, Jesus hears all our thoughts.
Oh my goodness.
And the bad thoughts and the angry thoughts so he had to repair. Those thoughts should be full of love.
Yes, yes.
Everything our thoughts should be from the heart, should be full of love. And we know that our thoughts are not. And he had to repair all that. Yes.
So basically the hours of the Passion take you through the 24 hours, the time before what Mary experienced and, all of that. So we're taken through these hours. So in your opinion, Kathy, what is actually happening to us when we read these hours?
So we didn't know this information before. So it's really interesting to know. And Jesus is taking us through all sins. So when he mentions, I was repairing for this, then I can say, oh, I do that sin. You know what I mean? He's bringing us through all the sins. And I think, I do that. My thoughts aren't pure. So as we're reading it, he's trying to change us away from sin, Mm-hmm. So he's pointing out what sin is, and we can see ourselves in that sin.
Yeah.
And then we know we have to change these things because he suffered because of that. And now I have to change it.
It's a total experience that we're having while reading these hours.
So that's the same, Carol. Before, we never thought about our thoughts. From the beginning of our life, all the thoughts, the things that have gone through our head that aren't good, they have to be prepared for. So now we're going to claim that by doing the hours of the Passion, because Jesus has already repaired it. I just want to claim what he has done.
Yes.
By taking part, by cooperating.
Yes.
What he's already done. He's not asking me to go through a passion, a physical passion, but by me reading the words and repairing, being sorry for my own sins as part of that. Yeah. I'm consoling him.
Well, when we're doing the hours, Kathy, how would you recommend that people actually do it? Should they do an hour at a time at that? Say, for example, you're reading from 4 to 5. Should you be actually reading that hour at that time, or does it matter how you read them as long as you read them?
If somebody hasn't done the hours of the Passion, I would recommend try and make that commitment now in Lent to start at the beginning.
Yes.
And just try and do it up to Easter Sunday, try and get through all the hours. It doesn't matter how much you do every day, but just try and make a commitment to get through, to read it once through, by Easter, if it's possible, just to know the information. Yes. Because what I found, Carol, is you just get to love Jesus more and more when you see how much he was willing to suffer, and that he doesn't ask me to suffer like that. I just have to thank him and console him now for what he has done.
Yes.
He didn't do that for me. We would have misery, we would have our own passion.
What
save us from that.
What I found, friends? I found it actually heartbreaking at points, because we fully, in our human capacity, understood what has been done for us. And I remember I was actually reading this while I was with somebody, and I actually went, "Oh my God!" And she says, "What are you doing? What are you saying that for?" And I says, "If you realized what was done for you, you would cry, because what he has done for us is actually beyond us. Not just when you see the emotional torment he faced, and you know, it's quite incredible. So I want to encourage you, do stick with it, because it can be quite challenging to read, Kathy, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, and also, Carol, that sin is not just individual acts. It's our whole life. It's our disposition. It's how we behave every day. It's how we think of God. You know, it's the continuous.
Yes.
It's not just little acts or little things we do wrong, or it's everything. It's our thoughts, it's our movements, it's, you know, it's our whole life.
Yes. And you know, the great thing about doing the hours of the Passion is it gives us an opportunity to repair. Because that's what Jesus tells us. By walking through this with me, you are joining hands with me. You are repairing for all the sins and the offenses that has been caused against me. So the power in it is totally and utterly sublime.
And he says that he hears his own voice.
Yes.
Which means that these words are divine words.
And we're just going to take some of the text here. When I hear these hours of my passion, I hear my own voice and my own prayers in the soul. I will behold my will, that is, my will desiring the good of all and making reparation for all, whence I feel drawn to dwell in the soul, to be able to do within it what the soul itself does. So it's absolutely incredible, spiritually amazing. It really, really is. And he goes, as the soul assimilates itself with Jesus's passion by reading and meditating on the hours of the Passion, it progressively embraces, like Jesus, the acts of all creatures, of all the creatures, as it operates in my will. The soul does the rounds of all centuries and raises its acts above all human acts in a divine manner by virtue of my will. So again,
and Carol, for each word, because each word is a divine word, it's Jesus's word, he will restore to grace a soul. Yes. For each word.
Yes, and he also says, for each word that is said within the hours of the Passion, or what each word that's read, I will release a soul from purgatory for each word that is read.
Yeah, or a living soul he'll restore to grace.
Yes. So
then also in whatever area, he will protect that area just from one person living in the divine will and doing the hours of the Passion. He will protect that whole town or area where the person lives.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So, friends, that is, you know, protecting your hometown or protecting where you're from is just amazing. So, Kathy, before we say the hour, there's a prayer before and a prayer after, right?
Yeah, which is important, Carol.
Okay, so we need to follow does the prayer beforehand, the prayer after, then there's a meditation and a reflection also. So we basically need to read the whole thing, right?
Yeah, but Carol, maybe some days you have more time than other days. So you can just do a few lines one day that you're busy, and the next day you can make up for it, you know, when you have time.
Yes. But, so this, my friends, just reminding you where this comes from. This is from the Kingdom of the Divine Will book itself. Again, if you want more information, the Divine Will Era channel also has great resources. Father Iannuzzi's over there with Radio Maria as well. I want to encourage you to download his writings if you can, or read his writings, because like I say, we're quoting from him here. So the tools are there. Have a go for Lent. Do it each day, and your spiritual life will be taken to a whole new level, right, Kathy?
Yeah, the Passion will become alive for you.
Yes, yes. And you will understand the depths of the love that God has for you.
Exactly.
You'll understand, you know, like I say, when the Mel Gibson Passion came out and it was on the screen, I remember my own mother actually got up. She got up and says, I can't watch this, it's too much. But when you read this, you'll see so much more what was done to him. And he took it all on. You know, he took it for us.
And Carol, divine will, like we say the Eucharist is about thanksgiving, but divine will is really about thanksgiving.
Oh, 100%.
And this is a way of thanking him for every step, everything he suffered. This is the way of giving thanks back to Jesus, you know, for consoling him.
And I think, yeah, that's what I'm saying. The divine will itself is the greatest gift. It's a gift given to us, and we have to thank God for it. And by thanking him, we have to offer up all of these things that have offended him, because like we were discussing earlier on, the world is in a right state right now, and folk are really beginning to say, what's going on here, you know, and we can multiply these acts of redemption to an even greater infinite value when we offer them up through the divine will, and woe when we offer them up through the passion of the Lord.
Yeah, we're repairing for the sins of the world, Carol, and there's no better way to do it than this way, through the hours of the Passion.
Yeah, so friends, for Lent, not just for yourself, but in honor of the Lord Jesus, we want to encourage you to really consider reading these writings, because they're mind-blowing. And you will notice that I found them when I was actually reading them, they're so profound. They will touch you, and you know the writing is staggering. So you'll know what it's been written from heaven, by heaven, for us. So I want to encourage people. Anything, Kathy, before we close on the hours of the Passion?
And Jesus did all this so that we would come to the resurrection, and he's offering us sanctification now. And he said that he didn't want to go through all this suffering and not have the fruit of the resurrection. So he wants us all to come to that resurrection.
Yes.
And that's what we're aiming for, you know, is by accept, you know, this gift.
Yes.
Because you want to come to sanctification, you want to come to, you know, why Jesus went on the cross in the first place was to bring you to the resurrection. And
I think Lent is the perfect time to begin, and you know, ask the Lord to show you, to guide you, to direct you. And you know, I'm sure at the end of it you will be absolutely so spiritually alive. Just think, at the end of it, you're you're at the resurrection, you know, Easter Sunday, you've gone through all of this and you've learned so much.
And for each word, every soul that you've helped. You know,
exactly. So we want to encourage you, friends, grab a copy of this book, go through the hours, and I'm sure you'll be blessed beyond measure. Okay, Kathy, again, thank you for joining me again today. It's been great.
Thank you, sir.
Until next time, friends. Bye-bye for now.
God bless.